China has one of the hardest green cards to get in the entire world. And after 7 years of living in China and trying to get one, I have some news for you guys. It's shocking. I got it! This is China's 5-star card, my own 身份证, and it's how I'm able to live in China forever. I'm BeeRose in China, and throughout my 7 years living in China, I've come as a tourist, a worker, a student, and lastly, someone in love. Each one needing its own special visa. My passport pages have filled up at an alarming rate. But now, with this card, I will never need a visa ever again. Today, I'm gonna tell you guys how you can get one of these, how I got one of these, and what does it actually do, and answer the questions that I keep seeing in my comments of how can you move to China and can you actually retire here? Let's break it all down. To get one, you have to qualify under specific categories. Mine, I had to be married to my Chinese husband for at least 5 years, live in China continuously for 5 years, with 9 months in each year spent in China, and have a stable life and residence. But that's just one way. There are others. Other ways include investment. To get yourself noticed, you should invest a minimum of about $500,000 to $1 million. No big deal, right? Another way is through employment. You have to hold a high-level position, have a good tax record, and do it for about, I think, 4 to 5 years. This is actually an avenue I could have pursued in the past because I held a level A visa. That meant every year I made a minimum of $500,000 RMB. But ultimately, I decided not to pursue this way because I was about to have my second baby, so I quit and I took care of them. This has changed though. Now, to be a level A visa holder, you have to make 6 times more than the average salary in the city that you live in. It has gotten harder. And now for a really fun one, and that's special contributions to China. A great example of this is going to be a former NBA superstar, Stephen Marbury. He played for and coached the Beijing Ducks, leading them to many, many victories. You can also win the Nobel Peace Prize and get one, or be an amazing scientist. So you either need to be a basketball superstar, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, or a genius scientist. Easy, right? And then there's family reunification, which cover spouses like me and my husband, dependent children, or elderly parents who need to rely on family in China. And the paperwork you need to prepare is no joke. It took me months just to get everything together. To name a few things that you need to prepare, you need non-criminal background checks from every country you've ever lived in, including where you were born. You need to freeze money for quite a long time. In Beijing, the amount is 150,000 RMB. The minimum in all of the cities is going to be about $20,000, but it can go way higher than that. You need a health check. You need a detailed explanation of everything you've ever done in China from the moment you got here, and more. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And now onto the super fun part. What does it actually do? For starters, I do not need a visa anymore. To travel internationally, all I need to carry is my passport and the 身份证. And in China, I don't even need my passport. I just need the card. Or I can live in the future, which China does the best, and scan my face, which is something normal foreigners cannot do. And one of the best things, no hotel can deny me or reject me anymore, because they definitely can't say they don't know what to do with the 身份证, which they have done to me many times with my passport. It's also going to make my life super convenient, as registering for financial services will be easier, doing stuff online, and even buying property. Now let's talk about a really huge one, and that is work. I said I don't have a visa anymore, but to work in China, usually as a foreigner, you have to have a visa. Anytime I would talk to a recruiter trying to find a new job, they would always ask the same question first. What kind of visa do you have? Because you are limited based on the visa that you have. Not all visas can transfer to other things. But now I have total freedom. I can do whatever I want, when I want, and not have to worry about how that is going to transfer. Another huge one is going to be stability. In the past, my shortest visa was good for 60 days. My longest ever that I was so happy about was for 2 years. And when I got the 2-year visa, I was so excited. But now I don't have to think about my life in 2-year increments. I can think of my life in decades because this card is good for 10 years. There are also social benefits. In many regions, people can have access to social insurance, medical insurance, and their kids can enroll in local schools because those are free. And now to finally answer the questions I keep seeing in my comments about how can I move to China? Can I retire in China? It does seem easier than ever to come here, to live here, to work here, to be a tourist. But I have a bit of advice for you guys. Do what your visa says you're supposed to be doing, because if you get caught, you could get kicked out or even lose the opportunity to get a green card. And you may be thinking, oh, I'll never need a green card. I'll never get a green card. Never say never. Look at me. I was only supposed to live here for 1 year. And now I can't imagine living anywhere else other than China. Can you retire in China as a foreigner? This is where things get complicated. China is not an immigration country, and there is no retirement visa. If you're living and working in China, once you reach a certain age, you will no longer be able to keep getting that visa. You can come into the country as a tourist, but there will always be a time limit. And another question that I see in my comments quite a lot is, can you become a Chinese citizen? This might surprise you. Actually, you can. But I've never met, not even heard of one person who has done this. And you have to renounce your own citizenship before you can become a citizen here. So will China suddenly open its doors to widespread immigration or retirement? I think no, because that's just not how this country works or thrives. And historically, it never was, so I think it never will be this way. If you look at the States, historically it was built by immigrants, which makes the fact that immigration being such a polarizing topic right now all the more ironic. The USA is going through a very dark time in history due to ICE terrorizing not just undocumented individuals, but also documented. This kind of thing and tension is not new. The infamous 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act comes to mind that targeted and banned Chinese laborers. History shows that for a country built by immigrants, the question of who gets to join has been fraught with tension, restriction, and at times explicit racism. Today, that history echoes in intense policy swings and painful enforcement actions that communities experience very differently. What do you guys think about what's happening in the States? And what do you think about how different the systems are in China versus the States? My journey to get the 5-star card has been built on building a life, a career, and starting a family. It definitely wasn't easy, but it has been totally worth it. The best things in life usually are the hardest to attain. Let me know what else you guys want to know about all of this, and I will either try to answer your comments or address it in a future video. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.